Former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Joel Rubin. What is he going to tell lawmakers, and what can you tell us about him as a member of government?
Yeah, Katie, Tim Morrison is a rock-ribbed Republican. He has essentially checked all the boxes of conservative foreign policy, very hardcore, hard right on Russia, very hawkish on nuclear weapons issues, very, very, very conservative. And so that's why this potentially can be very devastating as well, because Tim brings credibility. He's not a deep stater. He's not someone who's going to be confused with a longtime bureaucrat. He worked on Capitol Hill for a number of years. I first engaged and dealt with Tim back when we were in the Senate over a decade ago, and he takes no prisoners in his policy work. So he's going to have a lot of credibility. And the other critical thing is he worked in the House as well. So all of these members and their staff on these key committees know him on a personal level. His words are going to be different from many of the other folks who've come in and testified who may be a bit removed, like the ambassadors, for example, who are career foreign service. Tim is part of the Republican foreign policy establishment on Capitol Hill, on both sides of the Hill. So he's going to have a lot of impact up there.
What happens to Tim after this?
Goodness gracious. You know, this is like the nightmare scenario. Nobody wants to be hauled before Congress. Nobody wants to have their name splashed in the paper. And so for him, certainly in the conservative side in Washington, there are a lot of think tanks and whatnot that provide a hospitable home for people who come out of government service. And we'll see. I mean, clearly that might be a near-term thing. But by his leaving the NSC, he's making a statement that he is separating himself, and he's giving himself the freedom to speak truthfully. And I think that's a really important point. I want to make sure I emphasize that Tim is, above all, a dedicated American, a public servant. He definitely has strong views politically on policy issues, but I have every confidence that he's going to say the truth in these depositions.